What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are, another big green day, up over $8,000. You know, I had 14 grand or 15 grand on Monday. What was it? 16? It was almost 16 grand on Monday, 3,500 yesterday. So that put me up almost 20,000 on the week, and now another 8,000 today. So it's like almost a $30,000 week. Well, we still have Thursday and Friday, so maybe we can make it official, make it a $30,000 week. I'm off to a really good start here in May. I mean, this is fantastic. Up almost 50 grand on the month. Almost $50,000 since my last red day. The momentum is hot. And what I said today was the first stock that hit the scanner, that had a low float, a decent daily chart, and was moving fast, I was gonna jump into it. It's exactly what I did. ATIS, it hit the scanner, jumped in, squeezed up, ended up hitting a high of 331, up at its highest, I think around 50% or maybe 60, 70%. Right now it's still up 38% on the day. So seeing some really solid momentum there, and you know, I just want to try to put the pedal to the metal. Be aggressive while the market's hot, capitalize on this opportunity, make as much as I can, knowing that, you know, slower markets will be around the corner at some point, and we have these windows of opportunity. We've got to be really, really aggressive because, you know, the reality is, I remember in 2016, in 3 days, I made $100,000, and that was 3 days spread across the whole year. No, that was 2017. And I finished 2017 with $335,000 of profit, which meant 3 days accounted for nearly 33% of my profits. That tells you how important it is to show up every day if you can, and how important it is to really capitalize when the momentum is high. Be aggressive. And so I did it today, feeling good about that. And you know, today could have been an even better day. ATIS had room on the daily chart above the 200 moving average up to 393, and then from there up to I think it was 550. So it could have been better, and if it had some breaking news, that probably would have done the trick. It was just a technical breakout. So tomorrow, same as today, I'm gonna be watching that scanner. First stock to hit, especially if it has breaking news, gonna be aggressive. All right, so that's the game plan. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning, 9:15 for pre-market analysis. All right, everyone. So we're going to do our midday market recap here. I'm going to finish up the morning in really great shape. You know, another super solid day, up $8,149.91. So, you know, the momentum continues. Today, it was a little unexpected. I wasn't sure which stock would be the strong one, but, you know, another really big trade. So that's going to put me here up just about 47 grand on the month of May. And we are now only 1 week into the month. So, you know, now halfway to a possible 100K goal. You know, I mean, I'm not going to try to get bent out of shape about crossing 100K. It'll either happen or it won't. But having some really strong momentum is no doubt an awesome way to start the month. I mean, it's really terrific. So, you know, it also just kind of helps shake off, you know, some of the choppiness that we had in March. Things got better in April, but, you know, just to put a little bit more, you know, space between me and, you know, some of those red days from the early spring. And also to put a bigger cushion between me and the $1 million mark. I'm now over $1 million by about 35 grand. So, you know, as I said, one of my goals was that I would take this $583 account, cross $1 million, and not look back. So you never know when you're going to have, you know, a little period of pullback before a move up. And I didn't want that to be right at the $1 million mark here, where I'll cross below it, come back above, back below, back above, etc. So, you know, now since I've crossed it and I'm up 35,000, if I do have a red day, you know, it definitely shouldn't put me back below the $1 million mark. If it did, it would be my worst red day in the history of trading, my trading. So I'm feeling like I'm getting that cushion, which is great. You know, and it's going to put me in really good shape by the end of this month, just to feel like, you know, crossed that level and didn't look back. So anyways, you know, at this point here, what I'm kind of noticing is this like feeding frenzy where we've been seeing some really hot momentum, on certain types of stocks. And so I'm going to move this over just so it's a little bit easier to see there. I'll put it right there. Let's see, let me push that live. So in the last couple of weeks, we saw obviously a huge move on first ABIO. So ABIO was the first one that really took off. The float on this was 150,000 shares, and it gave us a surprise move. It squeezed from $6 all the way up to a high of $12.88 in one day. Next day, gapped up, hit a high of $20.45. Second day, it rolled over. All right. Now, BLIN, very similar. Hit the scanner on, Monday, took off, went from $4 all the way up to $8. 100% move. Second day, it gaps up a little bit and then rolls over. So second day doesn't give us good continuation. But we had a nice move off that first breakout. Now today, ATIS, the float listed in Trade Ideas, let's see, is 56,000 shares. Now, I guarantee you that's not true. It's not actually a 56,000 share float. And so, the question, GNUS halted? No, it doesn't look like it's halted. So the question is, what is the float actually? And, I'm not totally sure what it is. We'd have to dig in. But, my approach was, okay, here it is hitting the scans, $2.33. It's up 33% on the day. And you know what? We were already watching it before it even hit the scanner. So, our job is to try to find that needle in the haystack. There are 10,000 plus stocks in the market to choose from. How do you find the one that's going to make a big move today? And so it's using this scanner right here. This is our gap scanner. This is telling us the stocks that are going to open higher than they closed yesterday. And right here, we scroll down. We were looking at BURG, which you can see I made $136 on. Small profit on that one. This one, CTRL, not enough volume. And in any case, this one had a float that was too high. Price is too high. Price is too cheap. I really don't like to trade under $2. Price is too cheap. Price is too high. It's above 10. Float is too high. It's above, it's a 30 million share float. This one, the float's too high. This one, the price and float are both too high. This one's too cheap. Now, again, one of my goals for the month of May was to avoid trading stocks under $2 as much as possible because I had found that some of those low price stocks were giving me some unnecessary losses. So going down the scans, et cetera, and here we had BLIN, this one we were watching this morning, and I went further down the scan just looking and I saw CHFS, so we took a peek at that one. We took a peek at JMU because they both have very low floats. Now, not a lot of volume, but it was worth taking a look at. And there we had ATIS, another one. And so we had glanced over at pre-market, and I said, well, you can see a little bit of volume, a somewhat recent reverse split from back here, in April, or when was this, in March. You never know. It's got the 200 moving average here. If it breaks that level, though, it's got resistance at 393, and then that gives you room all the way up to 552. So that's a nice window right there. And realistically, it's got room up to the 200 moving average anyways. And so I was kind of just, like, all right, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not really sure if it's going to do anything. But I put it up on my level 2 window and figured I'd, just keep an eye on it. So the bell rings, and BURG is the first one that I was trading. It was up 75% pre-market, which is pretty impressive. But unfortunately, it's retraced a good portion of the move. It's just been selling off. I jumped into it out of the gates right here for the break over the pre-market highs. Target was $3. Break of pre-market high was $287. I jumped in. It squeezes up to a high of $295. It doesn't break 3. It starts to turn around. I get out of it, basically break even. I took 12,000 shares, only made $136. That's only a penny per share. So that was not a big winner. It was worth a stab, but it just didn't work. And then I'm sitting patiently waiting and watching. And a couple of you guys in the room said, hey, take a look at ATIS. It just popped up here. So I took a look at it right here. And it had indeed popped up to $2.20 right here. So it had squeezed up. And I was like, all right, I'll watch it. And right here, it breaks and goes from 220 all the way up to 290 and is halted for 5 minutes on a circuit breaker. I got in at 225, adding at 230, tried to add at 240 and 250. I was not getting full orders filled. It squeezes up to a high of 288 and is halted. Now, this is very similar to BLIN, very similar to ABIO, all of a sudden taking off. And I do think it's still worth keeping an eye on, although it was having some issues up here around 225, which is where the 200 moving average is on my e-signal charts. 200 moving averages can sometimes be a little difficult to read when you have stocks with reverse splits. Different charting platforms will put the indicator in different places. Depending on if you do an auto right here, an auto chart, it's going to put the 200 at 261. So, it's kind of a little bit of an issue there. But then see, you open it up like this, and now the moving average changes to 304, right? So you're like, well, wait a second, what is going on here? Why is it changing? Well, when you're scrolling out the chart, it's pulling out more data, and so it's adjusting it. And so I use this time template of 200 EMA correction, so it automatically loads 200 candles, so we're getting the actual 200 EMA. Anyways, so on this one, so it pops up here and gets halted. I was expecting that it would be a 10-minute long halt. I thought it'd probably be a 10-minute long halt, and I expected it would resume higher. Yesterday on BLIN, I'll pull this one up here on just another chart. So BLIN yesterday, on Monday, it squeezed up to a high of 634, and it resumes 10 minutes later at 680. So it resumes almost 10% higher, and then it squeezes into a second halt. And that's kind of, what I was thinking might happen on ATIS. I was thinking it might squeeze into a second halt, given the fact that it's such a low float, given the fact that it is hitting the high day momentum scanner, and of course, it's similar to BLIN and ABIO. Unfortunately, it resumes at 295. Now, I actually added 4,000 shares at 295, and then it drops to 255. And so I was like, well, that's not good. Now I just lost 40 cents on 4,000 shares. It pops back up, and I stop out of those shares at like 260. And then as it kind of held right here, I changed my mind, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to add back. And I added 9,000 shares right here at 275 or right around there for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high, and it pops up to 317. And so I ended up kind of panicking out and adding here and then selling down here and then adding back right here and selling up here. So, I lost here and then made it back here, which I don't usually like doing, but it is what it is. So anyways, so that trade was kind of botched from partial entries here, adding here, stopping out here, adding back here, selling here. So, made money on it, but wasn't as clean as I hoped it would be. Did a false breakout, and now it's starting to sell off. All right. Now it comes up right here, and this right here is where I added 12,000 shares. So now I was stepping up to the plate with a bigger position because I was seeing the first 5 minute candle to make a new high, and more importantly, breaking back over the VWAP. We break over the VWAP, and there we squeeze up to a high of 325. But then it drops back down to 293, pops back up to 320, drops back down, pops up to 329, and now it's struggling at that 200 moving average. So this put me up 8,000 on the day, but it really, despite being up even right now 50%, this was not the easiest one in the world. It had a false breakout. Well, first of all, this came very quickly, so it would have been easy to miss. First 1 minute candle was a false breakout. It didn't open a lot higher and continue. It kind of opened flat and sold off. Broke below the VWAP, then comes back above the VWAP for what I thought would be a nice move up towards 350, maybe 393 daily resistance, but it's struggling at the moving average. Of course, not having a fresh catalyst posted today is probably a factor, although that hasn't been a huge issue with other stocks that we've seen in the last few weeks. In the last few weeks, we've seen stocks just take off on what we would call technical breakouts. So the chart technically has been selling off for a long time, and you start to kind of get these daily reversals where it just sort of, all of a sudden takes off, and traders are like, yeah, actually this is a low risk setup because the stock has, kind of been almost at all-time lows. So, you get that technical bounce off the lows, and that's sort of the setup there. But yeah, I don't know. I was just a little disappointed that it didn't give us that move up to 350 and 393. So, and now tomorrow, is this going to come out with news overnight? And then tomorrow it's going to be gapping up to 350. And then we're like looking at it tomorrow morning. But unfortunately, if we are, we'll be also remembering that, a couple of these other stocks, ABIO and BLIN, on second day continuation ended up failing. So anyways, I'm looking at the clock. It's 11 a.m. I've got a one-on-one session with an Air Circle student. So I'm going to switch gears, jump into that, and I will see you guys all first thing tomorrow morning, 9:15. I'm up just under 50,000 on the month. So this is so far a great start to the month of May. And I think that, the momentum is hot. It's time to put the pedal to the metal, be aggressive, and see if we can make this, the best month of the year. All right, everyone, so that's the game plan. I'll see you all first thing tomorrow morning. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.